You can see Gaza from here. Behind these walls, there are more than 2 million people, surrounded in an open prison. And this beach, near the borders in Egypt, also has a view of Gaza 10 kilometers away, but Gaza is also besieged from the sea by the occupying entity.
Patria o muerte.
Of your dehumanization of Arabs, what do you have to say for yourself? And this, you liar!
The road to Gaza. I arrived in Cairo on day 10 of the attacks on Gaza. And from Cairo's airport, we drove straight to Rafah crossing, where the world's eyes were awaiting the passing of some humanitarian aids to Gaza Strip. We're in northern Sinai, about an hour away from a city called El Arish. And from there, there's only 35 kilometers to the borders. All restaurants here have Palestine's name on them. We passed by a lot of checkpoints here, more than 5 of them. This is the area with the most checkpoints in the world. To Gaza Strip, that the Israeli entity have deprived of electricity, water, gas, food, fuel, and medicine. And it bombed it, and it's still bombing it. Thousands of tons of different types of explosives that together equal 2 Hiroshima nuclear bombs. They wiped out buildings, plants, and humans, killing and injuring thousands of women and children in a savage display rarely seen in history, and with support from countries
Stand with Israel.
pretending being civilized and promoting human rights. Then it turns out that humans in their dictionary are animals in the form of humans that deserve to be exterminated rather than being alive.
The war crimes! 7 years of occupation!
Behind these walls, we have 2 million people.
We will not get out of it, even if a second Nakba happens.
We're still alive, till now.
To get to Rafah crossing, we had to drive through the whole Sinai Peninsula. And we were stopped at tens of checkpoints for inspection. There's the crossing. We have arrived. Can you imagine that 2 million people are imprisoned there? 2 million people under the bombing. It's the first time I see barriers this high. What is this strange place?
This is the Egyptian Rafah crossing. The other side is the Palestinian crossing. They're exactly 300 meters apart.
300 meters?
Exactly, then we'll be in Gaza Strip.
So can you pass if you want to?
No, it's not possible now. The crossing is closed since the beginning of the war.
From this side or the other?
From both sides.
The other is controlled by Israel?
Yes, Israel controls it. They are bombing. Every time they say it will open at 9, then they close it.
They close, yeah.
They're just bombing that area to scare us as aid workers, to tell us that if you cross that and try to deliver aid, we'll bomb you as well. This is murder. This is murder. This is genocide. This is ethnic cleansing, wiping out an entire nation. It's a textbook genocide.
Do you see these tents? Can you see where we're sleeping tonight? And these walls are behind us. Thank God we have electricity, water, and everything. But 2 steps from here, no electricity, no water, no food, in addition to airstrikes. Something nobody can imagine. I really can't imagine it. Oh God. Oh Allah. It's a genocide over there.
Palestine! 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 Palestine!
It's like this all night long. The sound of bombing. They bombed hospitals and schools. They left nothing behind. A 14-day siege. Land, air, and sea. The first medical aids entering. There's more than 150 trucks not allowed to enter. Only 2 trucks will enter. They've just bombed the crossing in front of us. They did it to warn the 2 trucks not to enter.
They closed the gates and they're not opening them again.
It's 3 a.m. And every now and then, you hear an explosion and the ground shakes here, and we're outside. Oh Allah. Oh Allah.
Jordan, Israel, to Europe.
Gaza was under the Ottoman rule in 1917, when the British occupied it after the defeat of the Ottoman Empire.
After Lord Allenby conquered the Holy Land in 1917, the Jews were promised a national home in Palestine by Britain's Earl of Balfour.
And it stayed under the British mandate until 1948, when the British left. And the Zionist gangs turned into what is called today Israel. Afterwards, these gangs committed massacres against the Palestinian people in Palestinian cities and villages, and about 300,000 Palestinians were displaced who fled to Gaza Strip. Egypt then managed the Strip until 1949. The Zionist entity then occupied it in 1967, with Sinai, the West Bank, and Golan, which sparked the first Intifada against the Zionist occupation in 1987. And Hamas was established in the same year, the Islamic Resistance Movement. The occupying Israel then withdrew gradually from the Strip in 1993 based on the Oslo Accords. It returned some sectors to the Palestinian Authority, including Rafah Crossing. And the occupation had to completely withdraw from Gaza and dismantle the settlements in 2005, pressured by the resistance. In 2006, the first ever Palestinian elections were held, which saw a big win for Hamas, a win that led to conflict between the authorities' main party, Fatah, against Hamas. In 2007, the conflict resulted in expelling the main authority from Gaza, and Hamas took over the whole Strip. Since that day, the occupying Israel imposed a total siege over Gaza Strip from land, sea, and air. And they attacked the Strip more than 5 times: 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014, 2018, 2019, and 2021, killing and injuring tens of thousands of civilians, women and children under false pretexts. It reinforced the siege on Gaza people and horrifically tortured the people of Gaza with all the non-humanitarian means.
Why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? I'm just a kid.
The Egyptian authorities scheduled movements in Rafah Crossing on the Egyptian side, entering and exiting to enter Egyptian lands or coming from them, in variable times depending on the conditions. And the whole world, the UN and Arab countries, calling Israel to lift the siege on Gaza and apply the two-state solution that's internationally recognized, and warning them about the consequences of continuing on the same path taken by the successive Israeli governments, among which is the extremist, most violent one, the current government. Until came October the 7th, 2023.
The sea and Egypt's crossing is closed, and there is the border wall, which is called the separation wall.
This is Gaza Strip right here, a surface area of 365 kilometers, 41 kilometers in length. More than 2 million people live in it. Their age is under 14 years old, on average. Kids. The most important cities in it are the city of Gaza, Khan Yunis, Deir el-Balah, and Rafah. In Gaza Strip, there are 8 refugee camps for Palestinians who were displaced in 1948 in the catastrophe day, representing most people in Gaza. The main camps are Jabalia, Ashata, and Nusayrat.
The electricity, the cameras, the Iron Dome, and the snipers on its towers. This is my sister.
She had a wedding?
Her wedding, yes.
When?
Her wedding should have been on October 19th. Her husband is stuck in Cairo.
So the bride is inside?
Yes, she is. She couldn't get out because of the crossing's closure. It didn't open.
The next day, people gathered because the Secretary General of the UN came to perform a speech, trying to let in some trucks.
70 years of war crimes!
Behind these walls, we have 2 million people that is suffering enormously. No water, no food, no medicine, no fuel.
What has the UN done? 70 years of occupation!
Not supporting the genocide of every
You should be so ashamed of yourself. You are a liar, you have blood on your hands, and you should be so ashamed of yourself. And now we are watching an occupation, and we are watching the result of your silence, of your misrepresentation of Arabs, of your dehumanization of Arabs. What do you have to say for yourself?
He is the same person who said, after seeing the situation, that the attack of Hamas was not unprovoked.
It is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence.
In Deir Yassin, 1948, Jewish extremists massacred nearly 200 Arab villagers, including children.
Their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished.
It is called a Nakba, catastrophe, in Arabic.
Close to Rafah crossing, there's a city called Sheikh Zayed. From its beach, you can see the steadfast buildings of Gaza. Only a few steps, 20 kilometers from here, there's Gaza. You can even see the buildings from here. Gaza, it didn't only happen this year. They've been besieged for many years. Can you imagine that they can't cross this sea? More than 3 kilometers?
The health system has completely collapsed there.
With many trucks parked outside, waiting for weeks, while Gaza's health system is destroyed. The Zionist entity, however, only let in 20 trucks a day and forbade entrance of gas or diesel, for which hospitals are in great need.
In these moments while we're recording, every now and then we hear the bombing, now on Gaza. Gaza is being bombed right now as we speak. At least 100 trucks a day may suffice Gaza. Someone's hand and leg are amputated. We would just give him body bags for his mother and father and sister.
We decided to look at the Palestinians stuck on the Egyptian side.
El Arish, the capital of Sinai.
Most of them are in El Arish, 35 kilometers from the crossing. This is the first city you pass by coming from the Strip. You'll find that their dialect is different than Egyptians in the rest of Egypt. Their dialect is close to that of Jordan and Palestine.
We are generally Sinai Bedouins. It's a case that runs in the blood of Sinai people. Even Sinai's cuisine is similar to Palestine's. We share magluba, also musakhan, also the culture of eating thyme, and olive oil.
This is coffee from Gaza?
Yes.
The people of Sinai and all of Egyptians supports the people of Gaza.
Welcome to Al Arish. Welcome to Al Arish. Welcome to Al Arish.
There's a family stuck here. Where do you live in Gaza?
I live in Khan Yunis.
Is your family there now?
Of course, my family, my children and grandchildren.
I hope they're okay.
All praise to Allah. Today they bombed our neighbors, only 50 meters away from us. If they bombed churches and mosques and even bakeries, one goes to get a loaf of bread, they find that the bakery is bombed. Where is a safe place to go to?
We rented an apartment, and we're staying in El Arish.
Where do you live in Gaza?
I live in Zaytun, in the middle of Gaza.
Was it affected?
It's all wiped out.
No country can receive you?
No. We can't get out of Egypt.
But why the Ukrainians during the war can go elsewhere?
All countries are open to foreigners. Palestinians are besieged. Gaza is only 40 kilometers wide.
Who of your relatives are there now?
All of our family, our children.
Do you check up on them?
Yes, every day. My sons are all there.
When Palestinians come to Al Arish, they feel like they're in Gaza. A Palestinian is comfortable in either Gaza or Al Arish. Our uncles and relatives, we're related. There is no wall between us. Most people here and there are one.
We want to go home, but it's closed.
But it's being bombed. How would you enter?
No problem.
It's not a problem.
We want to be with them and die together rather than this psychological struggle here. We don't know if they are alive or dead, if they ate or had any water.
I'm waiting for the crossing to open to go see my children and grandchildren.
Do you want to get them out?
No, where would I take them? Where would we go in the first place?
If it opens for 1 hour, I'll go back to Gaza right away. People don't get out of Gaza. Do I leave my house and live in a tent? Or go back home? I'd rather die in my home than live in a tent. It's a displacement plan.
There's no alternative to Palestine. We've got no choice but to resist the occupation.
They can't get rid of Gaza unless they wipe it all off.
They're patience. Collective punishment means the people of Gaza now are punished.
But you know that there are a lot of refugees, a lot of innocent civilians, men, women, and children in that refugee camp as well, right?
My name is Motad.
This is Aboud.
For me and all the kids in Gaza to live in peace, and for Jerusalem to be free, and that Gaza wins. This is my dream.
If Allah wills. 2